Here in France, there is never a dull day at the moment in French politics. More plot twists than Bridgerton right now, 24 hours after the announcement of a new French government, 2 months after inconclusive elections. We're hearing that tonight the leader of the Conservative Party, the Republicans, Eric Ciotti, has announced he's quit. He's claimed that the party's full of macronists. Macronism, he said, has spread within the party, saying, I've become aware it's dissolved into that. And this is not a government of cohabitation. It's a macronist government, he said, as you can see, saying he has some hopes that Michel Barnier, the Prime Minister, will impose his mark. But so far, this government shows it's not the case. So a sideswipe comes. Remember that several Republican MPs took up positions in the cabinet, including one of the key job of Interior Minister. The headlines yesterday were on how the government had moved more to the right as a result, despite the left-wing bloc coming out on top. So it should be noted, this man, Mr. Ciotti, has previously allied part of the party with the far right and had also survived an earlier attempt to oust him. Let's bring you some live pictures from Bercy at the moment, here in Paris, the home of the Finance Ministry, because at the same time, right now, or en même temps, as President Macron likes to say, there's a changing of the guard beginning of the French government. A day after the announcement of the new cabinet, in the next few minutes, we are going to see the outgoing Minister for the Economy, Bruno Le Maire, officially saying au revoir as he says goodbye. Up to the steps of the Finance Ministry, we'll also hear, we think, from Antoine Armand saying bonjour. The 33-year-old relative newcomer to the political scene has got one heck of a job ahead of him. He's been a MP for the last 2 years. And given that Prime Minister Michel Barnier had said the scale of the French financial challenge is not to be underestimated, cannot be covered, he said this week, in pretty words. There was talk of tax rises, to which there were arguments, to which we don't think they're going to go ahead. But as I say, we're going to bring you that as it happens. It should be due any moment now. Let's see, in fact, if it's going on as we speak. Let's see if we call it a lucky moment at Bercy as we see, an exchange of posts. Here's Bruno Le Maire stepping up to the mic as we speak. And next to him, on his right-hand side, we can see his successor, Antoine Armand. So smiles at the moment for the camera. Let's see if we get a quick word.
Par un dimanche pluvieux. Une passation de pouvoir. Vous me direz à quoi sert une passation de pouvoir. Une passation de pouvoir, ça sert d'abord à dire merci. Merci à mes ministres délégués, Roland Lescure, Olivier Grégoire, Thomas Cazenave.
This might be quite a long press conference, but essentially what we heard him say, this is a passage of power that I'm passing on to you, Antoine, and he said, I want to say thank you and thank you to the French people. So, underway, that's the first of what we will see a number of changings of the post. The rest of them will happen tomorrow. We'll bring you those as we happen. The unveiling of the new French government. Now, one person who has their ear to the ground, especially on the day that we're hearing of the resignation of Eric Ciotti, Nicolas Conquer, member of the alliance between the Republican and the National Rally, a spokesperson as well for US Republicans abroad in Europe, who, Nicolas, I think you're currently in a car somewhere in the north of France. You look safe, you're parked up. First of all, before we talk about Eric Ciotti, give me your take on the new look French government.
Well, the fact of the matter is that we're seeing after the snap election, the French people expressed through the ballot box, 14 million people voted for this union of the right alliance, which is clearly not represented in this new government. We were expecting what we call in France une cohabitation, meaning a prime minister from the opposition. And here, it's just a continuity of what Macron previously had. Basically, it's macronism that has kind of overtaken this, and it's an alliance of the minority parties, which in a way is no change at all. It's just continuity. So it's a full betrayal of these French electors that have been totally disavowed in this government that has been formed, including some people from Les Républicains who are fully distancing themselves from the values, from the base of what their electors are expecting by joining the Macronism has fully in the last grasp, can manage to take over the remnants of this Les Républicains. Thus, we can celebrate Eric Ciotti, that's formally resigning and creating this new movement that's bringing up thousands and thousands of new members in this UDR, Union de la Droite Républicaine, which is really going to be a significant impact in the upcoming elections.
So you've kind of steered the way to where I'm going next, really. So we're talking about the union of the Republican rights. This is what Eric Ciotti wanted to create within the party. Now, that's not happened. There's clearly push against that. We're seeing the Republicans, the old vanguard of French politics, which dissolved somewhat as a party in recent years, have still managed to get seats in Parliament, pretty significant ones within the cabinet despite that. So where do you stand now? It's given your rhetoric a moment ago. You suggest that you will follow in the footsteps of Eric Ciotti. Is that right?
Well, most definitely myself. I will run as candidate for MPs under his banner and joining this union of joining the right in order to show that what we are majority in France, we should govern, and we're just on the verge of doing so. Today, the matter is with the LR, Les Républicains, which are compromised with the macronism, it's about time that we have these top figures of Les LR that decide to join and follow the lead of Eric Ciotti, which will in turn bring a new movement, a new political family on the right, which is not compromised with the Macron center-left, center-right, the en même temps, as you mentioned earlier. So it's definitely a clear call that saying that Les Républicains, the Macron, have totally betrayed on three counts, and that now the movement is under Ciotti in order to do great impact in the upcoming elections, which, sorry to bring it up, but we're only 8 months away of a potential new snap election. So it's time to take advantage and seize the momentum to build up.
But here's the thing. The left are saying this is a betrayal. You're saying, on the right of centre, somewhere between the far right and Eric Ciotti's new party where you want to be sitting, that's also a betrayal. Macron's party and those within his alliance would say, actually, no, this is further right than we were going to go. And the argument for the likes of Michel Barnier is, give us time to show that. I mean, you were talking 24 hours on. Have you, perhaps I could put it to you, have you not given them enough time to show which way the government will go?
On the left, if I were to talk on their part, is that they just couldn't agree on what was going to be their platform and designating who should be the prime minister. What we've seen now currently with this Barnier government and this new Macronism, the new format, is that they just managed to make a union of minority parties, which in turn don't reflect how we're supposed to manage our institutions under our Fifth Republic in France. And the top leading political party in France, being RN, wouldn't have a single member of its cabinet. That's clearly bad optics, and it's clearly preparing the upcoming successes, which are just ahead of us.
What's your prediction, Nicolas, on what this is going to do to the old vanguard, the Republicans, how it's going to splinter perhaps next? Where do you see these two, the new party of Ciotti going, and what's going to happen to the rump of the Republicans?
So regarding the Republicans, we're clearly a turning point. If it hadn't appeared previously, now they definitely know that they're going to be fully absorbed with the Macronism. They're not going to have a proper existence per se. So now is a clear call to action for them to join, to mobilize forces, and to prepare the upcoming elections. So I can definitely picture them joining this new and shaping this new political party as it's bringing up. And it's not aligned on the national rally per se. We're building a coalition in order to win the upcoming elections, but there's definitely a structure in place, and at least they know where the members are. The party was created a month ago. We're topping around 50,000 members, which really shows the dynamics, the momentum, and where things are going to be happening is within Ciotti's party, the UDR. So stay tuned.
So that's very interesting, Nicolas. Where do you draw the line with the National Rally and the far right? You're clearly not wanting to join that party. You stay with Eric Ciotti. So where do they go too far to the right for you?
It's not that a matter of right or where the threshold should be. It's about how do we achieve that our ideas and that we're in command of the country. So it's definitely bringing different political forces in order to federate these different electorates that maybe have different sensibilities. Maybe thus a national rally is very right-leaning. On some economic policies are more étatiste, left-leaning. So it's all about bringing this and uniting the right. And definitely from what I've seen in the US, I'm definitely trying to replicate and work as an artist as bringing these electorates together. So no matter what party it is, as long as we achieve a majority, that's clearly the end goal.
Nicolas, just a brief question just about you and the febrile atmosphere of French politics. You know, you stood in Cherbourg, you didn't get the seat, you were attacked as well. Just tell me about, you know, your dealings with the public, how you are now, and, you know, what happened to you in previous weeks.
So yeah, of course, I was on the campaign trail and I was mobbed by people that didn't have clearly political positions, affiliations, but it's clearly politically targeted. There was some very complacent authorities with this political violence, which from my side, I would denounce no matter from which side it would be coming. So I really want to make things clear that there is no place in a democracy, a so-called democracy, for political violence, and it should be called out by all means. And thus, we show that we're ready to defend our ideas, to stand up, and to keep it being on the campaign trail. We won't be silenced nor surrender to any either threat or intimidations. We'll be back on the campaign trail whenever it is, and we're there for our districts. So following this lead, it's clearly going to show our electors, but also potential top electors to join the movement and show that we're not going to let them down or surrender to this intimidations.
Nicolas, thank you for talking to me. Safe journey to wherever you're heading to this evening. Nicolas Conquer from the Alliance of the Republicans and National Rally, or what remains of Republicans. Nicolas saying he will join whatever party Eric Ciotti is now setting up.